welcome back. Right now we're going to be looking at assignment 15, which is more graphing, but specifically looking for intercepts, looking for x and y intercepts, looking at the slope of a line, and looking at how you can graph a line in a bunch of different ways. So don't forget, office hours. I know I say it every time, but it's really important that we see you in office hours if you're struggling with a certain concept or topic, and that you reach out to us and let us know. Instead of reaching out afterwards, and then we have to deal with an already submitted assignment as opposed to learning the material up front. So here we go. Let's look at slope, intercepts, and a little bit more of graphing, even though we already started by graphing a few things. Okie dokie. So we've got a line, and we've got a couple different ways we could go about. One second. We got a couple different ways we can go about graphing this line. We could graph this line by solving for y equals mx plus b form, which is my favorite. We could graph it by... we'll follow the instructions. And then we'll get to the y equals mx plus b. The instructions say graph the line using the intercepts, so that's what we're going to do. So to find an x-intercept, to find what we call an x-intercept, we are looking for where the line touches the x-axis. And if the line, I'll zoom in here, touches this axis, the one thing we know is that the point better have a 0 for y. So if the point has a 0 for y, it means what we're going to do is we're literally just going to plug 0 in for y and see what happens. So here we go. 3x minus 2 times, now I'm plugging my 0 in, equals 6. And so here I've got 3x minus 0 equals 6, which means 3x equals 6, which means x better equal 2. So that leaves us with the point 2 comma 0, right? Well, there's our x-intercept. Let me hop over here and plot it. Boop. We're going to do the same thing for y, and we're going to plug 0 in for the x value. Get 3 times 0 minus 2 times y equals 6, which just means negative 2y equals 6, which just means y equals negative 3. So we're going to plot that point, and then we're not going to do anything else. We are just going to draw that line and be happy. Graphing the line using the intercepts. So there's how you find two intercepts. You just plug the 0 in for the value that you're not looking for that intercept. Plot 2 points, draw the line. Okay, all of those kind of seem the same. Identify the slope. Remember so there's like 7 words for slope. Every time I see the word slope, it takes way too much time, but I love doing this. Anytime I see the word slope, I stop, I freeze, and I say, can I name all of the things I know that are slope? M. Same thing as rise over run. Same thing as, hopefully you're thinking in your brain of all the things you've heard, delta y over delta x. Same thing as y2 minus y1 over x2 minus x1. Same thing as f of x2 minus f of x1 over x2 minus x1. Is there anything else that I'm missing? Some people say f of b minus f of a over b minus a, kind of the same formula. Change in y over change in x we have with the deltas. So that's pretty much it. So the first thing I'm going to do is look at my rise. How much does this equation rise? Oh, this is the line we just drew. 1, 2, 3 up. So it goes 3 up, which is a positive 3. And then in blue, 1, 2, 2 over. That's a positive 2 going to the right. So my slope is 3 up and 2 over. Well, there's got to be a way to write that, right? That's exactly what we're going to do is rise over run. We're going to say 3 over 2 equals m. Call it a day. We know the slope's positive if you can think about walking upstairs. If you think about this person walking like he's walking left to right, he's walking upstairs, so the slope is positive, so that checks out with what we found. Next one, I'll give you a little hint, probably going to be negative, because if you draw a guy, he's running downstairs or sliding down a slide. Oh, and here we go. We get to use the formula. I was going to say let's do the formula, but here's a chance to get to use it. And that's pretty much it. And we're going to call it a day. So, getting to use that formula and one of those ideas for slope, this one is my favorite one to use because it's just taking 2 points and applying it. So here I'm going to take these 2 points, and I'm going to label them first. So what I'll do is I'll label it x1, y1, x2, y2. It's not saying 1 and 2 is in like completely different things. What that's saying is there's the first point on our graph and the second point on our graph, and I just want to keep them straight so I don't mess them up. And so what I'm going to do is I'm going to say, there's our formula, y2 minus y1 over x2 minus x1, and just plug those numbers straight in. Looks like 8 minus 2 over 7 minus 4. You can go back and check and make sure I put them in the right spot. It's real easy to mess up and put one in the wrong spot, and then it messes the whole thing up. So it's really good to go and double check. Leaves us with 6 over 3, which leaves us with 2. So m equals 2. That's our slope. Slope's not too bad, huh? All right. I think there's one more type. Actually, I lied to you. And that is just a little manipulation to solve a linear equation for y, which you've already done. It's just getting y by itself, but we usually got x by itself. Well, here's a chance to get y by itself. So we're going to add the x. We're going to get rid of the x first. Get that x over there. Cancel it out. Add 3x. And then we think, can we combine those like terms? Are they alike? Do they have the same variable and the same exponent? They don't, then we better not even try to combine them. We'll leave them separate and just leave them added together. Next thing's next. Divide by 5. Divide by 5. Divide by 5. And we are left with y equals 3 over 5x plus 3. I reduced that. And then your brain can say, oh, I remember that formula, y equals mx plus b. Well, what we've just been solving for this whole time is this m, right? Well, if we look at that formula I just wrote, that m looks a whole lot like the thing that goes in front of the x, right? So it doesn't ask us for it, but if we wanted to identify it, we could say the slope here is 3 over 5, which is the rise over run. So if we were going to graph it, we would go up 3 and over 5 every time. Just a side note on how slope applies to rise over run and equations, linear equations and y. All right? Don't forget to join us for office hours. It's really important that you do so that you can catch up on things that you're missing or things that you're not too sure about. Make sure remember Tuesdays and Thursdays from 8 to 12. We'll be there every Tuesday, every Thursday. If you're having problems, reach out to us before. We'd love to help you learn what you're missing instead of go back and look at what you missed. All right, thanks for watching. Make sure to keep up with all the announcements and you know what's coming up next in the class.